Bugger, the outboard drowned.
What happened this morning?
Well, we had a bit of a mishap. It was 30 something knots gust last night, so we moved from this bay where we were anchored and went around here to where we are now. It's only 6-7 miles, but around that headland there it was quite windy and quite steep waves, and we were towing the dinghy because it's only 6 miles, one of those dumbass things, you tow the dinghy. And I looked back as we're in the headland and couldn't see the motor, and had another look, and I could see the motor was gone off the back of the dinghy. It's a bit of a problem we've had because I made an alteration to fit the electric motor, and it means that the petrol motor doesn't really sit well on the transom, and so we have to keep tightening it up all the time. And I know it's a problem I know how to fix, but I just have sort of put that job off till we're somewhere more better. It's one of those dumbass things, you put the job off and then it bites you. So anyway, luckily I'd made up a Dyneema safety rope, and I had attached it to the engine, so I could see the engine was just underwater dragging behind the dinghy. But it still meant, you know, stopping in the middle of those steep waves and the boat flapping around, and I had to get in the dinghy, pull the engine out, back in, so it's just sitting in the dinghy all wet, full of water right now. So I'll have to fix that. It's not going to be a big problem. But obviously, we should have filmed all that. You'll be saying, why are you talking about it? Why are there pictures of it? Well, yeah, I guess documentary filmmakers would have done that. But, I don't know, at the time, we're more worried about making sure that the boat doesn't hit the rocks and that we get the engine back in and that none of us fall overboard and all that sort of stuff. So sorry about that, but I will show you fixing the engine and getting it running again, and I will show you why it fell off in the first place, and let that be a lesson to you. Never don't film your problems. This is the safety line that saved the engine. Little Dyneema cord. Alright, it's pretty windy in this anchorage, I hope you can hear me, but so we've got the outboard here now in the cockpit, and so it was submerged for, I don't know, maximum 10 minutes maybe, probably 5, but it still means that salt water has got into everything, so I just have to take everything off basically. So the carburetor, take out the spark plugs, the cylinder heads will be full of water, water would have got in through the air intake into the whole carburetor. I'll undo all the electrics, basically take off everything that I can, apart from I'm not going to take the head off. Spray it all down with water, with fresh water, get rid of all the salt, give it a scrub, spray it down again, and then various lubricant sprays. So this is an electrical clean and lubricant. I'll do all the plugs and terminals. This is Lanox, and I've got some WD-40, but probably won't use that, we'll use Lanox. Spray everything down, spray inside the cylinder heads, put the spark plugs back in, put everything back together. We'll give it a crack, start her up, and then run it for a little while so it gets hot, and spray it again with oil and everything. Basically you just got to stop any corrosion, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's a very simple engine, it's a 2-stroke, no valves, nothing like that, and there's no alternator, or there's no real electronics on it apart from the CDI, the thing that makes the spark basically, and just got to get all the salt off it so it won't corrode. And as you'll see, most of the motor is actually painted, so that won't really corrode anyway, so it's not a big drama. It's just get everything off it, get all the salt water out, lubricate it all, and it'll just be good as gold. You will have seen from past videos that we've got an electric motor, e-propulsion, and we have been using that most of the time, to be honest, but we kept this one just for days like this where it's 30 knot gusts and we still want to get somewhere. The electric motor is only 3 horsepower, so even if it was a petrol 3 horsepower you still wouldn't get anywhere. It's not that it's an electric motor, it's just a small motor, and so we kept this for the longer distances or when it's rough or whatever, and I'm glad we still have it, that it didn't go overboard. So lesson learned. I'll show you afterwards why it fell off, but we'll do that soon. I'm going to start taking the engine apart. Okay, so here I'm spraying down the whole engine with fresh water. You just need to have a lot of water and spray everything and move all of the controls around while you're spraying. Pull the starter cord, just move everything that you can while you're spraying, just to get the fresh water down and flushing out all the salt that can be there, because the salt will just leave its crystals and then over the time it'll start corroding everything. So basically it's got to, as much water as you can, and just keep moving everything, turning all the knobs, all that sort of stuff, and then you'll get all the salt out of there. There. As you can see, the cylinder heads are completely full of water, chocker full, salt water. So that's the more important part. We don't want salt corrosion inside the engine at all. Outside's not a big drama. So I've taken the spark plugs out, and now I'm going to pull the starter cord, make the engine go up and down and spit this water out. Right, so now that the salt water's all been sprayed out, go ahead and fill the cylinder heads up with fresh water. And fill them right up. And then pull the engine over, spread it all out, and repeat a few times. That way you're really getting the crystals out of the inside of the engine, and you can start to lubricate after that. Alright, so I've rinsed the heads out twice with fresh water. I'm just going to go ahead and spray it all with lots of oil. Turn it over a few more times. You need to get this lubricant and water dispersant through everything, through the rings, pistons, everywhere. So here I am spinning the engine over a few times with the lubricant in the cylinder heads. This is just to spread the lubricant around and to try and get rid of the rest of the water. Alright, I'll spray that out one more time, and then I'll leave it sitting there a little while I take the carburetor and everything off. So pretty much everything on these little engines can be done with the tools that come in the little bag with it. They pretty much have everything you need to take this apart, and that includes the carburetor. So the carburetor will be full of water because it would have come in through the air intake, and that would have gone through the carburetor and straight into the engine from here. That's how the cylinders got full. Yeah, so basically just take everything off on the carburetor, but just do it piece by piece. Like this is the bowl. Alright, so this is the float. Just have to be careful you don't lose any little pieces, but that's basically the float. To get that off, you just undo this one. This is the main jet. If you've had bad petrol and or water in it and your engine's not running properly, this is the part you have to fix. Take that apart. These are the two jets. It's the main jet, so you should be able to see some air through that. If it's dirty, your fuel won't run through properly. Or if there's water, because water is a different sort of size molecule than fuel. Either blow it out or get a very small piece of wire or something and run it through. In here is the secondary one, and this screwdriver does all of it. And this is the more complicated little jet. See, it's got lots of little holes around it. This is the one that gets blocked the most. But just blow it out and look up at the light and make sure you can see light through it. That's the main point. So now I'm going to clean all this out with water because it just needs everything. It's aluminium, it's not really going to rust this part, but there are steel parts on there. Making sure when you're rinsing it, you're moving all the parts that can move just to get the salt out of them. And I'm going to start rebuilding this part. Important thing is to remember where all the pieces went. Okay, that's the main bowl put back together. Very important not to damage any of these, they're quite delicate. Blow that water through. This comes out these two holes. And give that a spray as well. So here, just taking apart all the electrical connections and spraying them out with electrical contact cleaner and lubricant, making sure just all the salt's out of there, putting them back together. Very simple. Take one apart, do it, put it back together, just so you make just so you know that each wire is back on its original place. Pretty easy. We're installing the carburetor now, as again, you've taken care when you took it apart to see how to put it back together. Very, very simple really, just two big bolts, dropping the whole thing down, don't over tighten, there's a gasket in there, and then you're connecting all the controllers, the choke and the throttle basically, and just making sure, twist the throttle, pull the choke, make sure everything's connected and is moving in the right direction. Probably should get a new set of spark plugs, but I don't have any here right now, so when we get round to the next town I'll get some new spark plugs, but it should still work. Probably when I start trying to start it, I'll have to take these out and clean them a couple of times because I have sprayed a lot of oil into these cylinders, so it probably won't fire up right away, but I need a bit of compression to make it all happen, and then I'll take them out and clean them again. So time to change out the gearbox oil now. So you take out the oil drain on the bottom, you also got to take out the top one so that, because it's basically airtight, so if you don't take out the top one it won't drain. So this definitely did need a change, the oil's not looking very, very great. So we're filling the gearbox up again now with oil. It's a tiny little hole, so you got to somehow make a little funnel. You just a piece of plastic and wrap it around. And I've taken out the drain bung as well to let air in, and you just have to really drip it in slowly. It's not much oil, but it's still more than you think. Like that came out, so you got to get more than you think, and it's really slowly. You just got to be patient with it. So here we've got oil coming out the filler hole, so we know that we're full. Put the bungs back in, do them up tight, make sure they're waterproof, and you're good to go. Alright, so technically we're sort of at the point where we can hook it up to the fuel and kick it over and see if it goes. So I'm going to put it on the hanger on the back rail and try and start it there. I'm not going to put it on the back of the dinghy. We're bouncing around too much, and I will have to take it apart again probably. So I'm going to fill up a bucket with water and put it on the cooling, and then just run it off the back rail for a few times. So I'm just pulling it over a few times. I haven't put the key on or put fuel on yet. I'm just pulling it over to run things through a little bit, run some air through it. Pull the choke out. Full power. Okay, moment of truth. I've primed some fuel into it. Got the choke out, got the key on. Let's give it a try. I didn't expect that to happen. I was so unconfident of it starting that I didn't even bother putting a water on the cooling system. It's okay, it's only a couple of seconds, but yeah, we're running.
Success.
Alright, so what I was just saying I was going to do, put a bucket under that and run it on here with the cooling water through it. Unfortunately our bucket's not big enough, it doesn't fit over it. But as the engine is running, I'm just going to put it on the dinghy so that the prop's in the water and just give it a good run in idle there for a while in the water, let it all flush through, and then test it out under power with thrust, just pushing on Schiehallion with the dinghy, and then yeah, we should be good. I don't know. Easier than I thought. Learning by doing. Alright, set me loose, babe.
Yep.
Runs like a dream. Probably liked a bit of a wash inside and out. Okay, so I said I'd tell you the reason why the outboard fell off. Well, that's it. The thing that was on there before, it was a solid nylon, quite thick, and it had got brittle in the sun and all cracked and bits broken off, and it just fell apart. So I didn't have a piece of ply that was ready to go on there, and I didn't have another piece of nylon, so I took an old chopping board and put that on there, and yeah, it wasn't good. It's not strong enough, so you tighten the outboard up and then it just bends inwards, and then every bump you go over on the outboard, or if it's just in the waves, it slowly just worked itself free. And I knew that. I'd been tightening the things up every day, but yeah, in those big waves around the point, wasn't working. So I'm taking this off today. I'm putting a piece of ply on there, I'm epoxying it, I'm making it all nice. Won't happen again. Yeah, good lesson for you and me. don't procrastinate, just do it, especially when it comes to safety or big things like an outboard motor. I'm just happy I had a safety line on it.